시작을 하도록 하겠습니다. 세 분 연사 말씀을 듣겠습니다. 우선 첫 번째, 콘스탄티노스 스τερ기우 박사님께서 그리스와 유럽을 중심으로 해서 유럽 청년들을 교육으로부터 일터로의 이행에 대해서 어떻게 지원하고 있는가에 대해서 말씀해 주시도록 하겠습니다. 예, 박사님 부탁드리겠습니다. 박수 부탁드립니다.
Okay, it is a time to say my first Korean word, or not yet, because I will think that I will keep it for the end. As the Prime Minister of Finland just yesterday welcomed you with a nice welcome from the Finnish culture, I would like to say that I'm coming from Greece. But not the usual Greece that you might already know, which is some of the islands. So I'm not from there. I'm from the mountains, Greece, where the beauty of Korea is very similar with mountains and other atmosphere. I'm coming from a region where we call it a region in transition. So it is going to be a presentation that is focusing mostly in regions like this. But also I would like to share experiences on entrepreneurship and youth work in the era of Big Blair. Myself, as a Doctor of Economics of Education, I have my academic profile, but today I would like to focus more on my experience in the youth work field as a youth trainer and as a youth facilitator for the last 17 years. So, we have heard very important things and inputs by the speakers all these days with numerous sessions and valuable input. And undoubtedly, in this era of Big Blair is an era of transition. And when we speak about transition, two main keywords are coming to our minds: the digital and the green transition. The region that I'm living in is the region of Western Macedonia and Greece. In the last 5 years, we are in this well-known green transition, leaving the coal era and passing to a more sustainable environment. Of course, this is bringing many opportunities, but also challenges as well. There is a very recent report from the World Economic Forum that is trying, as many other reports, to summarize the business top priorities for 2027. And we cannot say further, because you have seen, like yesterday, that many things are happening, and then we cannot predict the future in a very long perspective. Analytical thinking, creative thinking, and of course artificial intelligence and big data. But there are many more, and I'm sure that the speakers in this session will cover more coming ahead. But also, we have seen, and we are seeing a very huge challenge, which is concerning the youth unemployment. And the youth unemployment rates are still very high. We have the so-called NEETs, the young people who are not in education or employment or training sector. But we have also a generation that is more educated than ever before. And it was Sir Ken Robinson that first talked about the academic inflation. And you know that most of you have degrees, diplomas, masters, doctoral degrees, and we need more. And we are always seeking for more. So this is a matter of question. But at the same time, there are many companies in Europe and around the world that are struggling to hire the people that they have the talents and the skills required to this very competitive labor market. A bit of statistics. 7 out of 108 countries that participated in research of the International Labour Organization said that they have struggling to find the people with the necessary skills, and there is a skills mismatch. In Europe, 77% of the SMEs, the small and medium enterprises, are finding difficulties, of course, to find the workers with the necessary skills. And when we are talking about the fourth industrial revolution, we can also see what is coming in the close future, where the 2/3 of today's 5-year-olds will be in about 15 years in a situations that they will find themselves in jobs that do not exist today. In the European Union, we have every year a priority, and every year has a specific name. 2023 is the European Year of Skills, and there are many activities taking place in order to find ways to create cross-sectorial cooperation and to strengthen the relevance of skills to the requirements and opportunities in the labor market, in order to address labor shortages by closing the gaps and skills mismatches. Of course, this is not an easy process. So there is the creation of the well-known Pact for Skills, which is a joint action that is bringing together industries, employers, social partners, youth workers, of course, and other related employment agencies in a common effort to create joint actions to maximize this impact of upskilling and reskilling in Europe. I would like to focus only in a very, very recent research that was shared with me a couple of days ago in a meeting in Luxembourg and Brussels we had with the Europe Direct Center. I'm the head of the Europe Direct Center of my region. And I would like to emphasize the project which is called Digital Europe, that launched the Women for IT as a multi-stakeholder cooperation project to train over 900 young women at risk of exclusion in 7 countries in Europe. And over 70% of the participants were employed in ICT roles within 3 months after graduation. These are tangible results, and there are many more like this, and like the University of Oulu in Finland that created a large-scale partnership in this digital ecosystem and has committed by 2026 to educate annually over 500 ICT experts. There are many examples like this. But I would like to focus more on the specific area of youth work. And when we are talking about youth work, we are talking about non-formal education. And it's something that has an important role to play in the coming future. Closer linkages between education, youth, and employment. Better quality information, advice, and guidance to all young people. Education and training pathways that can build, this is something that was very analytically discussed yesterday, individual strengths for every person. So we're not building something that is the same for all the people. We have to focus in the individual needs of every person, and more specifically of every young person. Free and easy and accessible skills development platforms. In the youth work field, we have after COVID-19, we developed a well-structured platform, which is called HOPE Online Learning Platform, this Salto Online Learning Platform. And we found ways to have non-formal education and interaction in an online setting that kept the majority of the aspects of youth work and the priorities of non-formal education. Dialogues with the governing bodies of schools and training centers, unions, business associations, and chambers of commerce. You know, what has been happening since yesterday is a unique opportunity, especially for the young people, to see that several representatives and stakeholders are in this global forum to discuss what we can do all together, because we have to do it together. We are talking about skills, about competencies, and my colleagues later on and the speakers will focus more on these things. But I would like myself to focus on an umbrella of competencies, which is called this entrepreneurial competence. But let's put it first as a mindset, okay? Because it is the way that we are thinking. And when we are talking entrepreneurship, we do not need all to become entrepreneurs, but it is very important to have an entrepreneurial mindset. And of course, it is not easy to develop this only in formal education, because youth work and the non-formal approach has a very important role to play in order to build this entrepreneurial mindset. Because through youth work activities, we are developing more resilient young people that they can take in the future more entrepreneurial initiatives. And this will help them a lot to bypass these barriers to entry into the traditional employment. And we have a saying sometimes that if you cannot get a dream job, then create your own. So this is where exactly we are focusing on. We need to guarantee that the next generations will have a transition to autonomy from the studies, bachelor, master's degrees, and more, in a way that you are sustainable, you're resilient in an ongoing and changing labor market. And the way that we can do that has to be somehow framed and measured and modeled, that we have the tools to assess whether we are doing good or not. In the European Union, we have tried to do that through the development of the well-known Endrecomp, which is a model that is trying to evaluate and to create bridges between the worlds of education and work, and to evaluate the ongoing efforts if they are succeeding at the end or not. The Endrecomp is trying to focus on the transversal skills needed to be entrepreneurial citizens by creating social, cultural, and economic value for others through their actions. It is a free online accessible tool that you can all have a look when needed, and it has the opportunity for young people and youth workers to measure the impact of their activities in the youth work setting. And the youth work setting means that it can contribute to closing the gap between competencies acquired by young people and the needs of the labor market. Flexibility, adaptability, innovation, creativity skills are only some of the skills that are involved in this umbrella, which we are called entrepreneurial learning and entrepreneurial mindset. There are probably youth workers in this group, or people who have been benefiting from youth work activities. And I can guarantee that the participation in these youth work activities is a matter of high importance, because you are getting outside of your comfort zones, you are trying new things, you are coming in contact with people that you have never met before, you will need to accomplish tasks under specific guidelines and under time pressure, to present in public, to come in contact with other cultures, and also to be flexible to adapt to the ongoing changes. These are only some of the feelings and skills that you will be facing when you are talking about youth work. And youth work changes life, yes. Myself, 20 years ago, while I was at the age of these bachelor degree students, 21, 2022, unfortunately, I had not the opportunity to travel abroad that much, so I had only a couple of trips with my family outside Greece. And it was the period in my life that I visited Sweden for my Erasmus studies. Erasmus is an exchange program between universities that gave me the opportunity to study abroad for 6 months and have my economic courses in English. And since then, I distinguish my life as a life before Erasmus and a life after this. And I think that my presence today here has a lot to do with this, because I'm not the same since then. And youth work was the continuous effort, because it all started with Erasmus, but it went later on to these capacity building activities, study visits, researches, seminars, training courses, youth exchanges, youth mobility activities in general, that brought me to more than 40 countries around the world. And among them, it was Korea, again, back in 2019, with the kind invitation of Dr. Misung and the Youth Foundation of Korea. So I'm representing here a youth NGO, but also a youth partnership. And the youth NGO is focusing on local level activities. It is called Active Youth, and it was established back in 2010. So it's been almost 14 years of active participation in the local, region, European, and global level. What we did, it was a personal promise. And as I said before, we didn't have the opportunity to have these mobility activities and youth work activities back in the age when I was a teenager or a young person. And it was a promise to the local community that we have to take initiatives in order to give the young people, no matter the background, no matter the economic level, the educational level, the opportunities to take their future in their hands. How? By taking youth work initiatives involving young people, enhancing youth participation and youth empowerment. These are our priorities as a youth organization, a non-profit organization, and we've given the opportunity to more than 1,000 young people from our tiny community, and it's tiny because we're around 30,000 people in the place that I'm living in, to go abroad, to change themselves, but also to have the spirit of visit things globally, but at the end act locally to change the local environment. It has been a long procedure, and it was not easy. And there we understood that only with common initiatives and practices we can change things in this world. By developing the competencies already from the age of 13, 14 years old, it is a matter of huge priority, because having this entrepreneurial mindset and all these skills, they are very important for your personal, professional, and academic life. In a bigger perspective, in 2018, we established, together with other entities, national agencies, Erasmus Plus entities in Europe, the Youth at Work Partnership. It is a very successful partnership that can also bring bridges between Korea and Europe through the initiatives that are being taken in the setting of training courses, study visits, and exchanges. This partnership, which is already measuring more than 50 events around the world, is focusing more in this entrepreneurial setting and enhances the employability potential of young people in Europe and the world. What we have been doing, we are a team of trainers, a team of experts that we are quite often providing publication material and researches related to the topic of active participation and youth entrepreneurship, but we are also giving the opportunity to young people to participate in conferences and meetings around Europe and the world in order to enhance their capacities and develop their skills further. So at the discussion taking place later on, but also myself, I'm available for any questions or potential synergies between Korea Youth Organization and the Youth at Work Partnership or Active Youth. I would like to conclude with a couple of words, like an inspiration for the young people or for the people who are working with young people, that we have to do many things in order to enhance the youth participation. In all levels, decision makers, universities, research institutes, the government by itself, we cannot build the future for young people without the young people. It is impossible to speak about future generation, transition to digital and green economies without the involvement of young people. We have to enhance the youth participation in all sectors in order to guarantee that the young people are the ones who are taking decisions for their own futures. So youth work activities are really doing this, enhancing the youth participation, working on youth empowerment to guarantee a future that is more close to the dreamy future of every young person. I think that the discussion taking place already, but also the questions that we will open it later on, which is important to have a dialogue, will be given the priority for you to enlarge this discussion to strengthen your voice, and you have, at the end of the day, very tangible results and resources for you to go further. Kamsahamnida.